Should you date your kids?
That's not what she means. Stay tuned to find out. Hello and welcome to Couple Chat.
Where we
Parents.
discuss topics for you.
Parents. I'm Matt.
I'm Jackie. Let's chat.
We had a jam-packed weekend, as it's been for quite some time. Mm-hmm. And we went on a few dates.
We did.
But we changed things up a little bit because...
They weren't with each other.
No, they weren't. But also, it was a suggestion I made because I was like, you're having a bit of a rough week. And it was like, we think pulling ourselves away from them is always the answer. Like, we need time away together to like heal from this like hard day or something like that. But sometimes, and I think we need to do more of this, and parents listening 100% do this. It really changes things. Yeah. You got to go on a date with your kids.
Yeah.
One-on-one, one kid at a time, one parent at a time, like a real true date.
Yeah.
And we both were able to do that this weekend. I did push for it because you were having a rough time and Nate was a big catalyst to that. So I was like, well, why don't you go take him out? And I will, and in turn, I will take Emma out. So you want to talk a little bit about that and why you did that and how you felt doing that?
Yeah, I mean, my plan was, because I had heard about a new play place opening up at one of the malls near us, and it felt right. He's been a similar one like this before,
right? And
I was like, yeah, let's just go. Like, why not? Like you said, you suggested it. So, my plan was like, I just wanted to like have a chill, couple of hours with him. So it was Friday, and for all of you Quick Check Reward members, it is free coffee Fridays. So we went to Quick Check. I said, dude, mommy's going to get some coffee. You can get some snacks, and we'll head up to the play place. And he was so excited. He literally walked down every aisle and was like, I want, and like put his hand on his chin and was like, like, it was so funny, but he literally only picked up like 3 or 4 things. And I was like, okay, let's only do 2. And then it ended up being 3 anyway. But no, he did good.
Tisk, mommy.
Well, it was funny because when I was making my coffee, he was standing there. He had already gotten his juice because I also got him a fountain drink. And it was the mucho mango. I cut it with some water, and there were 2 women there. The one woman was like, oh, I missed that stage. My son's 19. He wants nothing to do with me. And it's like, that was the second time I'd heard it that day. So it was just like, oh, like, all right. Yeah. Let me like take a step back and like reassess like our relationship, because we have been having it rough. And then she was like interacting with him and really nice. And then this other lady who like was just like really quiet, she goes, that's a lot of sugar. Like looking at our snacks and his drink.
She said that?
Yeah. And I was just like, that's why he's having it now.
People like
it was like
have
3 o'clock.
No filter, huh?
None whatsoever.
First off, lady, you have no idea what we do on a normal basis. You are seeing a sliver, not even 1%, 0.5% of our life.
Yeah.
How do you know what we give our child out of that?
But I was literally thinking, I was like, it's 2:45 p.m. in the afternoon on a Friday.
Right.
We're going to a play place. Like, he's going to run this off. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even let him eat the whole bags. Right. Like, I didn't let him eat all the snack. I literally have snack pouches in the car. I gave him 5 of each.
Right.
And that was it. Yeah. It was 5 Dipsy Doodles, 5 Doritos, and like 5 of those mini Oreo cookies.
Right.
That was all he got. And then the mucho mango, that's still in the fridge because he did not finish it.
And that was Friday.
And that was Friday.
Monday. We are shooting this.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course.
So I was just like, yeah, like, haha. Cool. Unwarranted device that, yeah, obviously it's a lot of sugar. So left Quick Check, went over to Freehold Mall, and there, the play place was there. And we went to the Lego store, and he was playing there. And I was like, all right, here's a timer. And, when we got to the mall, it was actually your idea to get one of those ride-on things. Because every time we go to the mall, he wants to ride these, these rent-a-cart stroller things.
And realistically, again, we're not going to do this all the time. We don't even go to the mall that often. No. It's hey, these things are here. He should at least try it.
And that was my thing too. I didn't bring the stroller for that purpose.
I mean, he's old enough. He doesn't really need that.
Yeah. But he loved it. And he was riding it most of the time. We went up and down the elevator. He had a blast. And then he was like, Mommy, I want to go down the escalator. I was like, not in this. And I'm not leaving it upstairs so you can ride the escalator. Because who knows? Who knows? But we went to the play place. That was a good time. And then we went to the food court and did the carousel because they have a really cool food court that's all glass enclosed. And there's this old time carousel at the bottom or at the end there. So he loved it. And the lights, the sky is dark because the sun had gone down and it was just perfect. We had pizza and he played on the ride-on things that you put coins in, or you used to put coins in. He just rode them and had a good time and came home and he was exhausted and fell right asleep. It was awesome.
You mean the sugar wasn't an issue?
No. Surprisingly. Listen, when Nate was a baby, and we do not condone this, depending on your child, but when he was a baby, it was Christmas or Thanksgiving.
Oh, what you're going
to
say?
When we went to Dave and Jess's. When we went to your brother's house.
Okay.
For that one holiday. And Nate was a couple months old. 7 months, maybe 9 months old.
All right.
And we had given him a cupcake and he fell asleep after eating the cupcake icing.
Oh.
You don't remember that? He was literally in the carrier on the floor next to us while we were at the dining room table. Mm-hmm. And he was so tired, the sugar did nothing. And he slept that night through.
Right.
I remember that specifically because we tell that story a ton. And it's, I don't know how. Yeah.
Nate in a baby carrier sleeping and not having to do anything. That sounds great. Just kidding.
Yeah. But maybe, after tonight, or after Friday too, I don't know. He's just, I feel like our relationship is stronger. It definitely helped. Just having that one-on-one time.
Yeah. I mean, I think it did help because, just in the next few days after that, it was fine. He had a bit of a meltdown on Saturday because of just trying to get him to go out and whatever. But then today you were having a rough night and I mean, something magnificent happened that has never really occurred before.
No. He just came over and gave me a hug and just was consoling me and rubbing my shoulder and then rubbed my face and was just Mommy, I love you. And then he just sat in my lap and gave me the biggest hug and just kept softly rubbing my face and he let me cry and let me apologize and let me just go through my thoughts and out loud and he just sat there. It was so not Nate, but it was because Friday was great. Friday we had no issues.
Yeah.
And then the meltdown on Saturday, I was man, I thought Friday worked. I didn't think Saturday was a thing.
Yeah.
And then tonight it was just man, he is a different kid. He is a good kid. He's a good kid. And it's just sometimes it's hard to see.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't him that was the problem tonight. Emma's in those terrible twos, moving on to three-nager there, and she's got her moments, man.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Nate.
But how was your date?
That's what I was getting to. Speaking of Emma, we had our own date that night, which was, I was just well, you take Nate out, and then Emma will go down for her nap. because she goes, when you go to pick up Nate is when Emma usually goes upstairs for quiet time.
Which she never lets just be quiet time.
She gets so upset too. Like, I don't want quiet time. Yeah, you don't want quiet time because you go upstairs and sleep. Like, we don't tell you to.
Yeah.
We never tell her to.
No.
We go, Emma, just go upstairs and play with your toys.
Yeah.
Like, it's just quiet time. Just an hour of quiet time. I don't want to do that. Like, literally, I walk out of the room like 95% of the time, and I look at the camera, and she's in bed.
She's in bed, like tucked in herself.
She tucks herself in. She's got her stuffies.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, all right, whatever, girl, you're weird.
But then there's like those rare occasions where she will actually like go and build something or play with puzzles or.
Today wasn't a rare occasion of building things or, just playing. Today was a random occasion of chaos for some reason.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she was just like, just screwing around in her room, stuff everywhere.
Great.
And I don't know if you saw this, but she was laying out her books on the floor, and she was like walking.
Balancing on them? Oh my goodness. I did not see that. You told me to check in on her and be like, look at her.
I told you to check in on her because she took all her stuffies out of the bin and was walking around with the bin on her head.
It's a canvas bin. She could still see and breathe. But like, geez Louise, kid.
I don't know. It was I was just like, what is going on? I'm trying to work downstairs thinking she would be napping. And I'm like, what? She did eventually fall asleep. Like, 45 minutes later, I'm like, really? Anyway, so back to Friday. So you guys went out. She did nap that day. And after I was done with work, I got her. And, I did tell her before she went up for quiet time, I was like, Emma, do you want to go to Burger 25? Because these kids love Burger 25. Yeah. And I actually did. I was skeptical about sending you a picture of us there because I wasn't sure what Nate would do or react, and I didn't want to like trigger him or you while you guys were on your date.
Yeah.
But it seemed like he was fine with it.
I didn't show him the picture.
That makes sense.
I showed him the picture of you guys in the car.
Oh, okay.
Because you sent me a few. I only showed the car picture.
Gotcha.
Because yes, you are correct. I didn't want to escalate anything that didn't need to be escalated.
That's what happened this afternoon when he had to come inside after coming home from school because scheduling, and Emma's here. And Emma's like eating a little bit of like a snack and watching Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. And he's like, oh, I want to stay and watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse when he's got to go to dance. Yeah. And it's like, dude, like Emma's going up for quiet time shortly. Like, you're going to dance. It's not a big deal. And but anyway, so my date with Emma was a lot simpler. Yeah. But you had your car, so I only had, the Han Solo, my Kia Soul, my business Kia Soul, which only has Nate's seat in it. Right. So originally, Emma and I were just going to walk because Burger 25 is in walking distance. We've done it before. Since it was like getting so dark earlier now, I was like, you know what, we'll just drive. So put her in Nate's seat. We went to Burger 25 and we get there. And she's like, immediately we walk in the door and she's like, Daddy, I have to use the bathroom. I was like, oh, okay. So I'm like, all right, well, let's put our stuff at a seat. And me and my infinite wisdom decided to put our stuff near the games because Burger 25 has a few games there that they like. But I like did it on purpose, but I didn't think about like, oh, she's going to want to do this like immediately. So she saw them and she's like, ooh, ah. And I'm like, well, you said you had to go to the bathroom first. So she's like, okay. So we went. Huge dump, man. Huge dump out of nowhere. And this kid's potty training, right? Yeah. So, like, she's pretty good now about listening to herself, her body. And yeah, I was not expecting that. I was like, well, I guess you did, and good thing.
You made room for your food.
Yeah. So anyway, then we go back out there, and I'm trying, like, of course, she's like, okay, games now. And I'm like, well, can we eat first? And, like, it was a back and forth, a bit of a negotiation, but eventually she was like, okay, let's go get our food first. I was like, thank goodness. So I pick her up. We go up to the line, and as per Emma, 2-year-old, I don't want to be up here. I don't want to be up here. Like, I don't understand what she thought. Like, did she think we were leaving?
Did she think only you were going?
I don't know. But she didn't want to be up at the line at the registers. And I'm like, well, Emma, I have to look at the menu and then we have to pick our food. Ah! And like, she's a little bigger now. So like she wiggled out of my arms and threw herself on the floor.
Tracks.
And I'm like, I'm looking over at the girls, these teenagers at the register, and then Emma on the floor. And I'm like, these are the type of things that, like, you know, red flags in public. Like, I don't know. For me as a parent, I'd be like, is that really that guy's daughter? Like, I just always think that.
Have you ever seen the How to Dad or the Dude Dads? No, not Dude Dads. The Dumb Dads skit.
Okay.
He literally does it. He's like, oh, I'm the only dad here with my kid. Hey, son, how you doing today? Like, he like makes it awkward, or he's like talking to his kid. And then, you know, the typical like, oh, you see a guy with a kid. Is it really their kid? Is it not? And then at the end of the skit, he sees a guy and he goes, that guy's here. There's no kid with him. Why is he here? And then the video ends. And it's literally exactly what every parent thinks. You see a guy, you see a kid, and that's terrible to think, because women can abduct children too. Like, people abduct children, men or women.
Sure.
It's gonna, unfortunately, it happens, and it's really scary and sad. But I can understand your anxiety and your fear of people paranoid. In the restaurant thinking that. I
started sweating. I get weird about stuff like that. And not even that, just like, you know, it's like, dude, come on, we're just trying to order food here. Like, and it would look even more weird if I'm like, well, let's just go. Which is like I am, you know, fight or flight instinct.
He's a flight.
I'm a flighter, man.
Yeah.
I have no interest in fighting anyone. If we had our stuff on still, I probably would be like, all right, well, let's go then.
I'll order in the car.
And that wouldn't look good. So anyway, I finally get her back on my hip, and I'm just like, whatever. I don't even care what I'm ordering now. Like, I didn't even get to look at the burgers. I just went to my go-to. Yeah. And I go up there, and I'm ordering, like, yeah, well, you know, as she's struggling in my arms, well, I'll take this, and she'll take that. Emma, do you want milk or apple juice? Like, just this whole thing. And I'm like, all right. So we finally finish ordering. And I'm trying to take the number, because they give you the stupid number thing.
The placard.
Yeah. And then we get back to the table and,
we're back.
Yeah. And I'm like, Emma, I was just trying to order our food, man. We weren't leaving or anything. And she was like, oh, okay, Daddy. Like, and I'm just like. But anyway, so
she does that thing where she's like, I'm sorry, I'll do it. Yeah. Or I say, Emma, I want you to listen to me. And she goes, I will. And it's like, but you're not.
When will you?
When you're 16? Nope. That'll be a different not listening. Future Emma, we love you.
Anyway, so we finally sit down, and from there it was fine. You know, her and I brought a coloring book. I brought Bluey coloring book and crayons, and she opens the book up and she's like, Daddy, gives me a crayon and goes, color this. And then I'm coloring it, and she's like, this is going to be so cool. And that's it. Like, she didn't color anything. She was just making me color things. I was like, all right, whatever. As long as you're calm and cool and you're enjoying yourself, I really don't care. So finally our food came. You know, it was fine. We ate, and then I had $1 and like a few 20s in my wallet. So I was like, I'm not breaking a 20. So you get one game. And she chose the candy game.
We do not need any more candy.
And I was like, Emma, are you sure you don't want the little duckies? Because they have these little duckies, and then they have the stuffies.
And she has a collection of them already. She has 5.
I know. She loves them, too. Yeah. That's why I was like, are you sure you don't want the duckies? No. And the thing about these games at Burger 25 is it's play until you win. So at least you spend $1, you actually are going to get something. Yeah. But, you know, it's like, yeah, okay, we needed candy. So she got a lollipop, and she was sitting there sucking on it, putting it down, and I'm like, no, don't put it on the table. I was like, let's put out a napkin at least. But anyway, going on a date with a 2-year-old is a lot more complicated than just a couple years later to a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
So my date was interesting, and we didn't really do much of anything else because I didn't want to, go too far with her. Also, we started our date a little later because I was working still and she was napping. So
yeah.
So I wasn't sure when you would be back, and I wanted to keep them on schedule, of course.
Yeah.
But it was still nice. It was nice to spend that time with her on my own, and like there's never a chance that I get to just have a meal with just Emma.
Yeah.
And this was a good opportunity. You don't really think about that a lot, that it's like, oh, we're always trying to have meals as a family, or just eat this so that we can stand here and eat.
Yeah, we stand in the kitchen because we can't sit because it's always running to the bathroom or keeping them at the table or we just want to talk.
It's getting a little better now, and like tonight might have worked, but then obviously Nate finished before everybody. So
and you went to the gym.
No, I know. But yeah, I mean, I think it's so important to have date nights with your kids.
Well, it's also we like doing that one-on-one time with Nate before like Emma's birthday. Because their birthdays are so close.
Right.
And when he was a baby, like right the night before Emma was to be born, because I was induced, we did the date night. And we've tried to keep that tradition going. Because it's like, hey, man, we get it. Emma's birthday's tomorrow. It's a big day for her. Your day's coming.
Yeah.
It's just not yet. Like, we're getting there. We're 10 days away. 11 days away because they're that many days apart. So we did that for like when he was little. I don't know if we'll continue it too much further. Maybe not. I don't know.
I think we should. But I think now we should also do the same with Emma.
Yeah.
Like she should get that same thing right before his birthday. I think that's nice.
Yeah.
And I think that they deserve to be shown that we love them individually and that we can have fun separately, because that's another part of like sharing. I feel like we need to show them that like, hey, you guys share mommy and daddy. Sometimes Emma does something, sometimes Nate does something.
Yeah.
Like
they also share grandma and grandpa. Like,
right.
If we're going on a date with one of them, the other one's going to grandma and grandpa or whoever's babysitting.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's definitely helped us recently.
Yeah, it will be
this weekend.
It will be interesting when we try this joint birthday party though, because this will be the first time we're doing that.
We haven't even crossed that bridge.
No,
we'll see.
No. But anyway, we ended our weekend having our own date.
Yeah.
which is it's become kind of a tradition to do this, but we road trip to Maryland really in one day.
Yeah.
Because my niece, she's doing theater. So she was in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child as Lily Potter Sr. And yeah, I mean, it was great. We saw the original, not the original. We saw the Broadway Cursed Child.
Right. Both parts.
Right. But what I meant was the original version. The 2-show 4-act Cursed Child.
Yeah.
Which does not exist anymore, which is insane to even think that we saw something that nobody can see it ever again.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Because
they changed it to be just one full show on Broadway, and then the version that she did was the high school edition.
Right. So it's even more abridged than the abridged version that now exists.
Yeah.
And I'm so curious how they do it now, because I remember, Act 1 ends with Voldemort Day, and then you go into Act 2. I don't remember how the first show ended, but I remember the transition into the second show's Act 2, where they use the theater, and the black light turns on, and the theater has writing all over the walls,
right?
Which was amazing.
Yeah,
so cool.
Yeah,
the show itself, the content is not great,
no,
but the spectacle and the way they did things on Broadway anyway was so cool.
Yeah.
And I was actually blown away at some of the things they did.
I thought the stuff that they did at the school were cool. Because, how can a high school show do something like that spectacular?
Well, of course.
But, they actually did some pretty cool stuff. And it's funny because I liked the staircases. The way that they had the staircases moving, connecting, separating.
Well, that's all part of the show, and I'm sure it's like a stipulation. Like if you're going to do the show, you have to build moving staircases.
Yeah, but in the show, the staircases are part of Harry's like mental decline, where he's like having visions of himself as a kid, and like all this stuff that's happening to him, mourning Cedric, and like Cedric resurfacing in his memories.
Yeah.
That's all happening. And that's him like realizing his scar's hurting and like all these things are resurfacing because that's him flashing back to the cupboard under the stairs. So that's why it's like part of the whole decline of Harry's like mental health. And that's why he blows up at Albus and all that other stuff. But you don't really see that in the teen or the high school version because they really cut out a lot of like the Harry stuff, at least in the first act. And like his... like everything happening to him and his and Ginny's relationship and him and Malfoy's relationship. You lose a lot of that.
Yeah.
But I really liked the special effects. I love the staircases were so cool. And the projector was cool.
Yeah, I mean they did what they could.
They did what they could.
Yeah.
Dumbledore was a little silly.
Yeah, but I'm sure they could have figured out a different way to do it, but in the end, like, it's high school.
Yeah. But no, overall, I thought it was enjoyable. It was funny. It's funny because our cousin, her school is doing the same show next weekend.
Right.
And we're like, I wonder how their version's going to be. But we're totally busy that, like, we can't compare the two.
She's not in it, thankfully. So it's not like we're going to be missing her performance or anything, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got to end our weekend with our own date. So it was just an interesting like trio of dates this weekend, and you know, it was nice. It was nice to have those different aspects and for us to realize, you know, how important it is to do that with our kids.
Yeah.
And then to end the weekend with a nice long day just to ourselves was wonderful.
It was the road trip, and then it was the show and seeing your niece and you know, your sister and her sons, like your niece and nephews and your sister. Like, it was nice.
Yeah.
And then like to see a show that I love, and like I dressed up, man.
Yep, you geeked out.
I geeked out. I wore my robes that you bought me. I wore my Hogwarts Deck the Great Halls like Christmas shirt, and I decked out, and I was the most overdressed audience member, and I felt really good about it.
Yeah. But
yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, and it was great and lots of fun.
Yeah.
And then the 4-hour drive home.
4-hour tour. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah.
Next week is that week, the beginning of the end of the year, Thanksgiving.
Joy, which we host.
Yes.
Yay.
So next couple chat, you know what we'll be talking about. What?
Thanksgiving Eve? Oh no, that's
the
Tuesday.
episode comes out on Thanksgiving Eve.
Yeah.
So we will be talking about Thanksgiving. I thought that was pretty obvious. And
is it?
What I said.
Was it? I was like, wait, what day is that? Never mind.
Thanksgiving's on a Thursday.
It's not next week.
Every
it's the
year.
week after. Matt, I'm telling you, we are 2 weeks away from Thanksgiving. Yes.
We're not.
Oh my God, we aren't?
We're not.
I am losing my mind.
I look at a calendar every day. I do content creation. I just set up the rest of this month earlier. So yes, I know. That it's next week. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell you.
I'm losing my mind. And
Sure.
literally I'm like, no, I'm back last week. Like, oh, we've got time. We don't.
And on that note of Jackie losing her mind,
Again,
I'm Matt.
I'm Jackie.
Here are the Hahns signing out.
Thank you so much for listening to Couple Chat. Make sure to subscribe to us on Spotify or YouTube Music. You could even subscribe to our YouTube channel where you could see this episode in video. Thank you to Hahn Films for editing and producing this episode. Let's chat soon.